Chapter 6 of Ayesha, The Return of She. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Christine. Ayesha, The Return of She by H. Rider Haggard. Chapter 6 In the Gate. Oh, that rush through space! Folk falling thus are supposed to lose consciousness, but I can assert that this is not true. Never were my wits and perceptions more lively than while I travelled from that broken glacier to the ground, and never did a short journey seem to take a longer time. I saw the white floor, like some living thing, leaping up through empty air to meet me, then finis. Crash! Why, what was this? I still lived. I was in water, for I could feel its chill, and going down, down, till I thought I should never rise again. But rise I did, though my lungs were nigh to bursting first. As I floated up towards the top, I remembered the crash which told me that I had passed through ice. Therefore I should meet ice at the surface again. Oh, to think that after surviving so much I must be drowned like a kitten and beneath a sheet of ice. My hands touched it. There it was above me, shining white like glass. Heaven be praised! My head broke through. In this low unsheltered gorge it was but a film no thicker than a penny formed by the light frost of the previous night. So I rose from the deep and stared about me, treading water with my feet. Then I saw the gladdest sight that ever my eyes beheld, for on the right, not 10 yards away, the water running from his hair and beard, was Leo. Leo alive, for he broke the thin ice with his arms as he struggled towards the shore from the deep river. Footnote: usually, as we learned afterwards, the river at this spot was quite shallow, only a foot or two in depth. It was the avalanche that by damming it with fallen heaps of snow had raised its level very many feet. Therefore, to this avalanche which had threatened to destroy us we in reality owed our lives, for had the stream stood only at its normal height we must have been dashed to pieces upon the stones. End of footnote. He saw me also, and his grey eyes seemed to start out of his head. "Still living, both of us, and the precipice passed!" he shouted in a ringing, exultant voice. "I told you we were led." "Aye, but whither?" I answered as I too fought my way through the film of ice. Then it was I became aware that we were no longer alone, for on the bank of the river, some 30 yards from us, stood two figures, a man leaning upon a long staff, and a woman. He was a very old man, for his eyes were horny, his snow white hair and beard hung upon the bent breast and shoulders, and his sardonic, wrinkled features were yellow as wax. They might have been those of a death mask cut in marble. There, clad in an ample monkish robe, and leaning upon the staff, he stood, still as a statue, and watched us. I noted it all, every detail, although at the time I did not know that I was doing so, as we broke our way through the ice towards them, and afterwards the picture came back to me. Also I saw that the woman, who was very tall, pointed to us. Nearer the bank, or rather to the rock edge of the river, its surface was free of ice, for here the stream ran very swiftly. Seeing this, we drew close together and swam on side by side to help each other if need were. There was much need, for in the fringe of the torrent the strength that had served me so long seemed to desert me, and I became helpless, numbed, too, with the biting coldness of the water. Indeed, had not Leo grasped my clothes, I think that I should have been swept away by the current to perish. Thus aided I fought on a while, till he said "I am going under, hold to the rope end." So I gripped the strip of yak's hide that was still fast about him, and, his hand thus freed, Leo made a last splendid effort to keep us both, cumbered as we were with the thick, soaked garments that dragged us down like lead from being sucked beneath the surface. Moreover, he succeeded where any other swimmer of less strength must have failed. Still I believe that we should have drowned, since here the water ran like a mill race, had not the man upon the shore, seeing our plight and urged thereto by the woman, run with surprising swiftness in one so aged, to a point of rock that jutted some yards into the stream, past which we were being swept, and seating himself, stretched out his long stick toward us. With a desperate endeavour Leo grasped it as we went by, rolling over and over each other, and held on. Round we swung into the eddy, found our feet, were knocked down again, rubbed and pounded on the rocks. But still gripping that staff of salvation, to his end of which the old man clung like a limpet to a stone, while the woman clung to him, we recovered ourselves, and, sheltered somewhat by the rock, floundered towards the shore. Lying on his face, for we were still in great danger, the man extended his arm. We could not reach it, and worse, suddenly the staff was torn from him, we were being swept away. Then it was that the woman did a noble thing, for springing into the water, yes, up to her armpits, and holding fast to the old man by her left hand, with the right she seized Leo's hair and dragged him shorewards. Now he found his feet for a moment, and throwing one arm about her slender form, steadied himself thus, while with the other he supported me. Next followed a long confused struggle, but the end of it was that three of us, the old man, Leo and I, rolled in a heap upon the bank and lay there gasping. Presently I looked up. The woman stood over us, water streaming from her garments, staring like one in a dream at Leo's face, smothered as it was with blood running from a deep cut in his head. Even then I noticed how stately and beautiful she was. Now she seemed to awake, and glancing at the robes that clung to her splendid shape, said something to her companion, then turned and ran towards the cliff. As we lay before him, utterly exhausted, the old man, who had risen, contemplated us solemnly with his dim eyes. He spoke, but we did not understand. Again he tried another language, and without success. A third time, and our ears were opened, for the tongue he used was Greek. Yes, there in Central Asia he addressed us in Greek, not very pure, it is true, but still Greek. "Are you wizards," he said, "that you have lived to reach this land?" "Nay," I answered in the same tongue, though in broken words, since of Greek I had thought little for many a year. For then we should have come otherwise, and I pointed to our hurts and the precipice behind us. "They know the ancient speech, it is as we were told from the Mountain," he muttered to himself. Then he asked, "Strangers, what seek you?" Now I grew cunning and did not answer, fearing lest, should he learn the truth, he would thrust us back into the river. But Leo had no such caution, or rather all reason had left him, he was light-headed. "We seek," he shuddered out, his Greek, which had always been feeble, now was simply barbarous and mixed with various Tibetan dialects. "We seek the land of the Fire Mountain that is crowned with the Sign of Life." The man stared at us. "So you know," he said, then broke off and added, "And whom do you seek?" "Her," answered Leo wildly, "the Queen." I think that he meant to say the priestess or the goddess, but could only think of the Greek for queen, or rather something resembling it. Or perhaps it was because the woman who had gone looked like a queen. "Oh," said the man, "you seek a queen. Then you are those for whom we are bidden to watch. Nay, how can I be sure?" "Is this a time to put questions?" I gasped angrily. "Answer me one rather. Who are you?" "I? Strangers, my title is Guardian of the Gate, and the lady who was with me is the Khania of Kaloon." At this point